Canaan's a fierce soul with fire in her eyes. War took everything from her, left her past in ruins. Now she's out for revenge. But deep down, she knows she can't lose herself in the same hate that destroyed her world. She was taught not to fall into that trap. If she starts wiping people out, she'd be just another name on the hate list. And that's not what she wants to become. Meanwhile, Maria Osawa and Minoru Minorikawa are flying into Shanghai from Japan. It's been 2 years since the madness in Shibuya, and this time they're here to cover a big anti-terrorism conference full of powerful people. Maria's got her camera, Minoru's got his pen, both ready to dive into whatever chaos brews next. She even draws a fake target on her own forehead, acting like she's reading his brainwaves for fun. Minoru stays focused, eyes locked on the news about the upcoming conference, ready to make a story out of it. Canaan's not here just to mess around, though. She links up with a shady female contact who tells her Alfred al-Shaya, Canaan's biggest enemy, is locked up in Karachi, held secretly by the CIA's Special Activities Division. Canaan stares at the woman, asks if she's Japanese, then suddenly flips the topic, asking if she knows about Cat's Cradle. The woman explains that it's a finger game that sharpens the brain and can even mess with a person's thoughts, making them act on impulse and make deadly mistakes. Elsewhere, Hako, the soft-brained but sweet girl, is putting a uwa flower on her man's head, lost in her own little world of romance. Back in the heart of Shanghai, the streets are alive with a local festival. Maria and Minoru dive into the celebration. The colors, music, and energy pull them in. Minoru spots an old man who looks way too much like the anti-terrorism head. Curious, he rushes off to grab photos, leaving Maria behind without even thinking. Somewhere else, a group of sketchy men are planning their next move. Meanwhile, Liang Qi strolls out of the bathroom completely naked, walking right up to the president like nothing's wrong, casually reminding him that it's almost time to move. Maria's wandering through the festival, snapping photos, enjoying the vibe, soaking in the culture with wide-eyed wonder. A stranger suddenly throws a jacket over her to keep her dry, just as the dragon float starts spraying water all over the place. The crowd loves it, dancing and cheering in the splash. In the middle of all that chaos, Maria spots a man collapsed on the ground. At first, she thinks it's a stage act, maybe part of the show. But when she sees the signs of the Wuhan virus, the truth hits her. He's actually dead. Her heart skips. Before she can move, 2 masked gunmen show up, closing in fast. But then out of nowhere, Canaan storms in, moving like a shadow. She takes both of them down without making a scene, keeping the crowd clueless and calm using her crazy, sharp synesthesia. Minoru finally realizes he left Maria behind and bolts through the crowd. He sees gunmen dropping like flies, then catches a glimpse of a woman literally running along a wall. He fumbles for his camera. Seconds later, Maria catches up, tells him that it's Canaan doing all this. Canaan wipes out the last of the masked squad, quiet and clean. No chaos, no screaming, just sharp instincts and deadly grace. Maria watches her in awe. Elsewhere in the city, things take a dark turn. The CIA convoy transporting Alfard hits a deadly trap. A hidden IED explodes under them, turning the street into a war zone. And just like that, the real storm begins. Liang Qi and Cummings rain down chaos from the sky, blasting the CIA convoy with missiles and heavy gunfire. No drama, no struggle, they break Alfred out like it's just another Tuesday. Nisama is back in their hands, and Liang Qi's buzzing with twisted joy. Meanwhile, Hako's man gets a phone call. Sounds like some big job is being thrown his way. But right after, Hako walks in and rests her head on his shoulder, quiet and warm. Just like that, he tells the caller he's out. Not doing it, not leaving her side. Back at the hotel, Osawa's going on about everything that went down with Canaan. Minoru's watching her, trying to figure out just what kind of connection she's got with this badass girl. Osawa tells him straight, they're friends. That's it. Later, Minoru starts remembering things. His bosses wanted him to train Osawa after the nightmare in Shibuya. He had to beg the top guys just to get the green light, but he kept his cool. He promised them he'd take care of her, and he meant it. Back to the present, he keeps pressing Osawa for details about what really happened between her and Canaan. Instead of giving useful info, she starts fan-rambling about how cool Canaan is. She shares every random detail, except anything that actually helps. When Minoru finally asks her to focus, she tells him Canaan gave her a stuffed animal. It had a hole in its head, and Canaan stitched it back up with some yarn. That's her big reveal. Meanwhile, Canaan is locked in a low-key talk with her informant. The woman notices Canaan's more serious than usual. Canaan goes a little deep, saying guns are simple. Pull the trigger and everything's done. One shot and the world changes. The informant leaves, steps into the car waiting outside. Inside, she tells the driver she can't stand Canaan. Hopes one day Canaan and Alfred go at each other and both drop dead. That's her idea of a perfect ending. Over at Snake HQ, Liang Qi's still spinning. She can't stop thinking about how cold Nisama was after the rescue. She tried getting advice, something to work with, but Nisama ignored her and kept chatting with Cummings instead. Later, Liang Qi storms into Cummings' room and starts pulling the trigger on him with an empty gun, again and again, just to mess with him. Somewhere else in Shanghai, Minoru and Osawa are grabbing dinner, keeping things chill. But the second Minoru spots a shady old man who looks just like the official he saw on TV. Things flip. That man's got bad news written all over him. Bullets fly. They barely dodge and run for it. They find a cab, jump in, and yell for the driver to step on it. The driver laughs, says he's never heard of a slow taxi, not on his watch. He slams the pedal like it owes him money, telling them there are moments in a man's life when he's got to run. But this sure ain't one of them. Canaan shows up just in time, taking down the Uzi-swinging psycho who is chasing Minoru and Osawa. Before he can even switch targets, the guy fries himself on some loose wires. Just drops dead like it's nothing. Later, the hotel boots Minoru and Osawa out. Someone trashed their room while they were out running for their lives. No clue who did it, no leads. Minoru keeps turning it all over in his head, that weird T-shaped purple mark he saw on the old man's back. The same one on the dead body at the festival. Something's off, something's coming, and he knows it's just getting started. Minoru decides to follow up on that weird T-shaped purple mark he spotted recently. He drags Osawa along to a Japanese-themed bar, hoping to get answers from a certain woman. But just as they're about to approach her, the bartender steps in and blocks them. Without saying much, he pulls them inside to stop them from snooping around. Once they're seated, Minoru and Osawa whisper to each other, convinced they've stumbled onto something big. Soon after, Hako shows up and takes the seat at their table. She turns out to be their assigned girl for the evening. While they chat casually, Minoru leans in and starts asking her some questions. Out of nowhere, Hako slides her dress off and exposes her chest, leaving Minoru completely stunned. But when he spots the hoo-ha flower symbol on her body, his curiosity kicks in hard. He tries to dig deeper, but just then, the bartender shows up again. This time, he tells Minoru to quit asking questions and enjoy Hako's body instead. Minoru doesn't back off, so the bartender kicks him out of the place. Somewhere else, Canaan is sitting near a window, struggling to build a tiny Eiffel Tower out of yarn. Her female informant walks in and sees her working on this tough little project. Canaan gently places the tower on the windowsill, hoping sunlight will pour in soon. When the informant asks why it matters, Canaan simply says the Eiffel Tower looks truly stunning under the sun. Meanwhile, Alfard starts working on a mysterious plan while Liang Qi sits around, clearly annoyed. She's irritated that Alfard won't let her go after Canaan immediately and is sick of being ignored. Back in a cramped hotel room, Minoru wakes up, body aching from sleeping on the floor. He glances over at the bed and spots Osawa sitting there, shoulders low and eyes empty. She's worried that Canaan won't be able to find them here. But she's in luck. Thanks to her sharp synesthesia powers, Canaan tracks them down despite their hideout being a cheap, run-down apartment. As soon as Canaan walks in, Minoru jumps into work mode and asks if she's up for an interview. But Canaan shuts that down fast. She wants to play. Minoru tries again, pushing a little, but she firmly repeats she's not in the mood for questions. She wants to have fun. So, Canaan and Osawa head off to a nearby cafe. They grab some dessert, and the second Osawa takes her first bite, her face lights up. It's sweet, tasty, and the moment feels good. She's clearly enjoying herself with Canaan, which is no surprise. After their little break, the two decide to explore the city. They go sightseeing in Shanghai and hop on the Bund sightseeing tunnel tram. But halfway through, Canaan senses something's off. She jumps off the tram to check it out. When she hurries back, Osawa is gone. Canaan instantly starts running through the tunnel, desperate to find her. Meanwhile, Osawa is being held by a young boy who calmly explains that he knows exactly how Canaan operates. He's sure she'll come, and sure enough, she does. But when she finds Osawa, she sees a time bomb strapped to her head. From the shadows, the boy starts talking again, asking Canaan to sit through his life story before the timer runs out. But Canaan has no interest in dragging it out. The two of them clash. The boy reveals he's a borner, infected by the hoo-ha virus. It's given him a strange ability to slip through tight spots and hide where most people can't. Canaan doesn't give him a second chance. She puts a bullet in his chest, right where it counts. She then races to save her, only to find out that the bomb was a fake. Minoru keeps banging on the door, calling out for Osawa to wake up already. It's past 1 in the afternoon. On the other side, Osawa sits frozen, mind spinning from the trauma she's carrying after everything that happened. The capture, the rescue, and the truth about Canaan. She still can't wrap her head around it. The sweet, innocent girl from her past turns out Canaan's a trained killer, an actual mercenary. And that rescue? It wasn't some miracle. It was bloody, ruthless, and full of gunfire. Elsewhere, Canaan is dealing with her own mess. She's trying to pull a bullet head out of her arm, the one she took in the tunnel while chasing after Osawa. As the blood drips, her mind drifts back to the reason she wants Alfred gone. A flashback hits. A city in ruins, buildings crushed, people gone. And there she is, buried under debris. Then, a man lifts her out, saving her life. He takes her in, trains her like she's his own. Day in and day out, he pushes her, teaching her how to survive, how to fight, how to shoot, and how to stay alive no matter what. She grows up fast. No childhood, no breaks, just training. But even that gets ripped away when one day, her world flips again. Right in front of her, Nisama, the very person she's now after, kills her foster father and vanishes in a helicopter. The pain never leaves. Later, standing in front of a mirror, Canaan stares at her reflection. In it, she sees her foster father, his words echoing, "Don't fight hate with more hate." Back to present, Minoru hasn't stopped knocking. Finally, Osawa opens the door. They leave the hotel and hop into the same taxi from the wild chase with the old man. The driver glances at Minoru and chuckles, telling him he's got no shot at winning Nene's heart. Minoru shrugs it off, saying he's not trying to win anything. Then the cab jerks to a stop. A protest crowd blocks the road, people shouting, waving signs against the upcoming anti-terrorism conference. Somewhere else, the female informant is having dinner with Hako's lover. He slides an envelope thick with cash across the table, offering it as payment. She pushes it back. She doesn't want the money. Instead, she tells him to buy something nice for Hako, a beautiful necklace. He scoffs as he walks off, saying he'll just give Hako a good time in bed. At a public function, Alfard stands tall, flanked by Lang Chi and Cummings. The event is all about the NBCR International Anti-Terrorism Conference and Daedala Corporation's big moment. It's been selected as the official private military company to help the Chinese government secure the area and protect the diplomats. Cummings is paraded around as the face of the company, smiling for cameras, while Alfard keeps her true motives buried. Later, Minoru reaches out to Chiaki, asking if she got a good look at the hoo-ha flower photos he sent. She's not impressed. Tells him the photos were garbage, blurry, and hard to read. But then she shares something the chief editor noticed. Those weird marks? They're not just tattoos or ink. They're veins, thick, bulging veins. That hits Minoru hard. It changes everything. Meanwhile, inside a public bathroom, Canaan comes face to face with Alfred. No crowd, no backup, just the two of them. Alfard smirks and mocks Canaan for failing to protect Siam, the man who raised her. Canaan's face tightens, fists clench. But before she can make a move, Alfred draws her FN-57 and fires at the ceiling, hitting the sprinklers. Water blasts down. Canaan bolts, disappearing into the chaos. Maria crashes at Union's houseboat the day after she randomly wanders off into an alley without Canaan. It's quiet and awkward, but Union lets her stay. Not long after, Union gets a call from Liang Chi. Orders come in fast, and this time, the job is serious. Meanwhile, Maria and Minoru head back to Japan to dig deeper into the weird T-shaped marks. They team up with a few Japanese doctors, trying to figure out what caused them. It's not something they can just Google. They want answers with proof. Later on, things take a turn. Canaan bumps into Yunyun during one of her missions, and it's not exactly a warm reunion. Yunyun's been sent to take her out. Maria pleads with both of them to stop, but the tension's already way up. Yunyun, feeling like she's backed into a corner, goes full panic mode. She's strapped dynamite to herself, planning to take both her and Canaan down in one big blast. It's a messy plan, but she's ready to go through with it. Canaan pauses. She doesn't care about Yunyun, but she does care about Maria, and Maria only has one friend. Out of pity, maybe even guilt, Canaan pulls her out of the death trap and saves her life. Back in the rented apartment, things settle for a bit. Yunyun opens up. She confesses she's a borner, infected by the hoo-ha virus, but without the flashy powers the others got. All it gave her was 2 extra appendixes. That's it. No super strength, no extra senses, just a medical mystery. Minoru listens, then flips her a stack of cash. He's got an idea. He wants Yunyun to work both sides, spy for him and the snakes. She's not exactly thrilled, but money talks. He needs someone on the inside, and right now, Yunyun is the only one crazy enough to pull it off. Minoru gets wind of a remote village out in the Kashmir region, where most of the people were deliberately infected with the hoo-ha virus. A few of them survived, and those rare survivors ended up with strange abilities. Folks now call them borners. Curious and unsettled, Minoru digs deeper and eventually crosses paths with Hako, a quiet bartender he met earlier. After watching her closely, he starts suspecting she might be a borner too, though she keeps her mouth shut. Meanwhile, the NBCR anti-terrorism conference kicks off in Shanghai. Armed guards from Daedala, a private military group, are stationed all over the place, working side by side with Chinese public security officers. Everything looks tight from the outside. But then it happens. Right after the American president finishes his speech, the whole place shakes. Liang Qi had set off a bomb inside the building. Hearing about the chaos, Canaan and Minoru rush straight to the conference hall. Their goal is simple: get to Maria before things go even more wrong. But it doesn't stay simple for long. When public security officers try to reach the control room, Daedala contractors, now joined by Alphard, start shooting. Tensions explode into a full-on fight. Maria, caught in the middle of it all, is grabbed by Daedala forces under Liang Qi's command. The plan? Use her as bait to draw Canaan in and kill her once and for all. But things don't go as planned. Alphard, remembering what her old mentors once told her, turns on Liang Qi. While all this is happening above ground, the dignitaries have already been herded into a secure underground bunker. At first, it looks like a safety measure, but that bunker's actually part of the plan. They're meant to be exposed to the hoo-ha virus, turning them into living experiments. Everything was a setup from the start. The moment one of the dignitaries drops dead from a hoo-ha virus infection, the American government scrambles into an emergency meeting. Tensions are rising fast. Meanwhile, Alphard couldn't care less about Liang Qi throwing a fit over not being able to kill Canaan. She's already moved on, ignoring Liang's tantrum like it's background noise. Back on the ground, Kenji Osawa, the top guy at Okashi Pharmaceutical, had planned to deliver the anti-hoo-ha virus vaccine straight to Shanghai. But out of nowhere, news breaks that he's been taken out in a car explosion. That one incident is enough to shake things up. The Americans don't waste time. They order B-2 bombers from Guam to fly in and flatten the entire Shanghai International Conference Hall, hoping to burn out the virus before it spreads across the city. Canaan doesn't wait around. She breaks into the hall, fighting through a bunch of Daedala goons standing in her way just to reach Maria. Side by side with Yuri Natsume, she hacks into the GPS system of the incoming B-2 bombers, pulling off a risky move to redirect the airstrike. Their stunt works. The bombs miss the hall, keeping the dignitaries alive. Meanwhile, heavily armed PLA Special Operations Forces secure the area and escort Kenji, who turns out to be very much alive, to safety just outside the hall. Deep underground, Alphard and Cummings make their escape with a few Daedala soldiers, leaving Liang Qi behind without a second thought. She's on her own now. When Canaan and Maria finally get outside, Canaan suddenly collapses, her body worn out from pushing her synesthesia powers too far. She saved everyone, but it came at a steep price. Canaan wakes up after collapsing, and Maria quickly tells her she's just tired from everything. Meanwhile, Kenji gets on the phone with Minoru and explains the hoo-ha virus, how some people actually survive the infection, even when it looks impossible. Later, the American vice president has a secret call with Alphard. She thanks him for working with her to keep the whole anti-terrorism operation running smoothly for a few more years, showing how deep this game really is. At a public concert, Hako shows off her Borner powers by giving the crowd intense headaches without them even realizing it. This makes Canaan and Maria run away fast. Hako has nightmares about the first time she discovers her powers after getting infected by the Wuha virus. Minoru isn't done with questions. He confronts Santana, Hako's guardian, trying to figure out what Borners really are and what the Wuha virus does. Later, Canaan and Maria go on a long ride through the desert regions of China with Santana, Minoru, and Hako all packed into an SUV. During the trip, Maria and Canaan talk about how their friendship keeps them going through tough times. Canaan struggles with not being able to see colors because of her synesthesia, and Maria stays by her side, even if it means facing danger. But things get tense when Hako suddenly tries to strangle Canaan in her sleep, blaming her for everything that's happening. Canaan and the others reach the edge of a dead, abandoned village. The place is quiet, but there's something heavy in the air. Santana finally tells them the truth. This village was ground zero for the Wuha virus. It was where the nightmare would have started if the infection had fully spread. What hits even harder is what comes next. Santana, disgusted and shaken, reveals that the CIA had been involved from the start. He found out that some agents, pretending to be with the CDC, had teamed up with the snakes under Alfred's command. They used this village as a test site, turning innocent people into lab rats. That's how the Borners and Unblooms were created, failed and broken results of the twisted flower garden plan to engineer super soldiers. Unable to stomach it anymore, Santana quits the CIA. Later, Alfred finds him alone. She's cold but calm and tells him she's heading to the factory. Before leaving, she drops something heavy on him. She says he needs to tell Canaan her real name. Before he can ask what she means, chaos hits. A snake chopper, piloted by Liang Qi's crew, ambushes Canaan. Rockets rain down, blasting the area and trapping her in rubble. Santana watches helplessly as Alphard walks off. But right before she disappears, she turns back and throws out one final bombshell. She says Canaan's real name is Despair. The words hang in the air, sharp and cruel, as Canaan struggles beneath the rubble, fighting to break free. With Santana's help, Canaan and her friends finally get inside the heavily guarded place called the factory. The place is packed with secrets, and the moment they step in, the whole vibe turns dark and tense. They move carefully through the quiet hallways. They stay sharp, but trouble still creeps up on them. Canaan starts feeling something weird. Her special gift for sensing colors had vanished before, but now it kicks in again. Only this time, all she picks up is sadness and gloom. Not long after, they're surrounded by zombie-like people known as the Unblooms. These folks look normal, but they're missing something big. They've got no feelings left. Unlike the ones Santana saved, these Unblooms are too far gone. Their eyes are blank, and their faces are cold as ice. There's nothing human left in them. While all this is going on, Hako loses it and starts running. She ends up in another part of the factory and finds a giant TV screen showing Liang Qi. Liang Qi throws cruel words at her. She tells Hako that her love means nothing and that her voice makes her unwanted. She says the factory was built to create another Canaan. Liang Qi pushes Hako to get revenge and start taking people out, but Hako pushes back. She gets fired up and dares Liang Qi to face her in person. Then, Hako walks into a strange, chapel-like room, ready for whatever's coming, but she has no clue what's waiting for her. Back in the chapel, things go south real fast. Hako is overwhelmed with emotion. Her deadly voice bursts out without her meaning to. It cuts like a blade and causes real pain. Tragically, Santana is the one tied up in Liang Qi's chair. He had been captured and left there. Her voice hits him, and it's too much. She never meant to hurt him, but it's already done. She loses the one person she truly wanted to protect. Somewhere else, Canaan and Minoru push forward. They're still focused on the mission and eventually find Hako. But Hako's shattered. She's drowning in grief and starts firing in all directions. Her mind's a mess. Minoru steps in, speaking gently, hoping his words can reach her and ease the storm inside her. At the same time, Maria and Yunyun sneak into the factory. To stay out of sight, they throw on goofy mascot head costumes. It looks ridiculous, but it does the trick. They make it to a huge flower garden. The place is calm and beautiful, totally opposite of the rest of the factory. But the calm doesn't last. Natsume steps into the garden and spots Maria and Yunyun. She sees them as obstacles. Her expression turns cold. Without saying a word, she pulls out her gun and aims straight at them. Suddenly, Alphard shows up at the flower garden and cuts in. She drops the truth. Natsume has been secretly working for Japanese Defense Intelligence. She's been collecting hidden data on the Wuha virus this whole time. Alphard wastes no time and calls her out. She lays bare Natsume's shady political games, her role in global missions, and her tight connections with military diplomacy. Then, Alphard hands over the Wuha virus data, saying she's done with that twisted research. She warns Natsume that chasing it any further will only lead to more wreckage. But Natsume couldn't care less. She turns around and walks off without a word. Elsewhere, Canaan wakes Minoru. He's weak and hurting from his earlier wounds. Canaan looks puzzled, not understanding why anyone would put their life on the line just to make someone else happy. She's talking about Minoru pushing himself so hard to save Hako. But even in pain, Minoru tells her to keep going. Maria and Yunyun show up, full of worry about Hako and Santana. Canaan nods and says she's heading back to the factory to find them and bring them home. Back at the factory, Liang Qi's obsession with Alphard has pushed her over the edge. She injects herself with the Wuha virus, even though she doesn't have the right genes to handle it. Her body reacts badly, her senses go haywire, and the pain is off the charts, both inside and out. Alphard and Cummings arrive to stop her, but she refuses to quit. Screaming in agony, Liang Qi begs Alphard to notice her, to give her anything, even pain, just to feel close. Alphard looks at her with pure disgust. In the end, she tells Cummings to end it. Liang Qi dies broken, and Cummings is left crushed, finally seeing that love can't be forced. Meanwhile, American Task Force 124 moves in, quietly launching a military strike to wipe out the terrorist site. Japan agrees to pin the blame on the PLA to keep international ties steady. Inside the crumbling factory, Canaan finds Hako badly hurt. Canaan pleads with her to come along, but Hako shakes her head. She says Santana was her light, and with him gone, she's made her choice. Her love for him runs deep, but she feels the living have to walk their own paths. She kisses him one last time and says goodbye as the building starts to fall apart. At last, Canaan steps out of the factory alive. Maria runs to her, overwhelmed with relief, and snaps her picture. The scene begins after a sad moment. Hako and Santana are now gone, and the group feels very upset. Canaan looks quiet and lost. Maria wants to help Canaan feel better, but it is very difficult. Even in a photo Maria took earlier, Canaan's face looks sad as well as full of pain. Meanwhile, we see Canaan roaming around the street. Her heart feels heavy. Her mind is exploding from the pain she's going through. She loses herself. Just then, Maria comes to her rescue. She tries her best to cheer her up, and then she also tells her that she will sleep with her tonight. The very next morning, the group faces an unexpected problem. Their car suddenly stops working. Minoru says he will stay and fix the car. The three girls, Canaan, Maria, and Yunyun, decide to take a train back to Shanghai after Minoru tells them it will be a better option as compared to waiting here, wasting valuable time. At first, the train ride seems calm as well as peaceful. The girls are enjoying a meal together. There are not many people inside, and they feel safe. But suddenly, the train stops for what is called an inspection. But something feels wrong. Canaan hears gunshots. She quickly leaves to find out what is going on. As she walks, something strange happens to her. She sees a vision of Siam, her old teacher. He tells her to open her eyes and see the truth. Then she sees another vision. This time it is Hako. Hako looks angry. She begins to blame Canaan for everyone's deaths. These voices hurt Canaan deeply. She starts to believe that maybe it is all her fault. Meanwhile, back to Maria and Yun Yun. Something bad happens. Alphard appears and calmly walks into the train car where Maria and Yun Yun are sitting. She looks calm but dangerous. Alphard speaks kindly to Maria and even asks for a favor. She wants Maria to help her. Maria is confused, but she agrees. After that, she asks Alphard for a photo of her. And right after she takes a photo of Alphard, Alphard shoots Maria and puts her and Yun Yun into a train car with a bomb inside. Her plan is to make Canaan very angry so that Canaan fights using all her power. Canaan returns and senses Maria injured. Alphard begins to fight her. During the fight, Alphard keeps saying painful things. She says that Canaan is the reason Siam died. These words make Canaan feel broken inside. She starts to believe that everything bad is because of her. But deep in her heart, she remembers Siam's words. He told her that revenge is empty and leads to nothing. Maria, who is clearly hurt, wants to save Canaan. She tells Yun Yun to release the train car before the bomb explodes. Maria does not want to be a burden to Canaan anymore. She wants to protect her friend. The final scenes begins with a dangerous situation. A bomb is ready to explode. Yun Yun is scared but still runs toward the train carriage to save Maria. Soon, the bomb explodes. Canaan reacts quickly. Something changes inside her. She becomes stronger. Her true strength finally wakes up. On top of the speeding train, Alphard and Canaan face each other. Alphard strikes with rage, using all her strength, but Canaan calmly counters every move. Her synesthesia guides her, making her faster and stronger. Alphard screams, trying to break Canaan's resolve, but Canaan stands firm with quiet strength. Canaan punches Alphard repeatedly, as she has past memories with Siam, calling her with her new name. Soon she gets strength and manages to free herself from Canaan, but slips and falls. Canaan reaches out to save her and holds her hand, but Alphard refuses help. Moreover, she manages to take a gun from Canaan and shoots off her own arm, letting herself fall, choosing her own end. After that, we see Maria wakes up in a hospital. She sees Minoru, who is safe too. They talk about Canaan. Maria says she wants to be strong enough to stand beside Canaan, not just be protected. Minoru also thinks about his job. He realizes he never got a great story to report because he decides not to write about Canaan's story. He wonders if he should find a new job. Maria says sorry to Canaan in her heart. She knows things cannot go back to how they were. Still, she is happy that everyone is alive. Yun Yun is also safe and back to her old self. Maria is grateful to her. Minoru tries calling Canaan, but her phone is not working. They cannot find her. Maria remembers how much pain and struggle Canaan faced. Even though they come from different worlds, Maria says she will always stay close to Canaan in her heart. Canaan is now far away, in a new place called Bologna. She is still doing missions. Someone gives her a new job: find and kill a woman with one missing arm. As the scene ends, everyone moves on with their lives. Minoru and Maria leave Shanghai. Maria still remembers Canaan. She says she will never forget the people she met and the memories she made. Even though they do not say goodbye, Maria believes she will see Canaan again one day.